Grace Hansen.
And I am Frankie Bergstein.
We make vibrators specifically designed for older women that take into account their arthritis.
Tender vaginal tissue.
I don't think that a 10-year loan would be prudent.
Do we look like we're senile and can't remember anything? Where is the car?
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
And I mean, shouldn't older women have it better than that?
Couldn't we fight for the right to masturbate after lunch?
Seriously, Mom, how do I explain to my children that their grandma makes sex toys for other grandmas?
I'll tell you what you can tell them, honey. We're making things for people like us because we are sick and tired of being dismissed by people like you.
Mic drop.
Push it to the limit, I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it, yeah, I'm in it to win it. I swear to God, I ain't gonna stop till I'm ballin' like Russell Simmons. Ballin' like Russell Simmons.
Whoa. You mean older adults are still doing it?
I think it's fine for older adults to have sex. It's just like everyone else having sex. It's your own business. It's weird to think about, but eventually it'll be me, so.
I think it's perfectly fine. It's a basic human function, so let them do it.
I think all elderly should do exactly what they want, and I think it's fine. I mean, it's weird to think about now, but I hope I can still do it when I'm older.
I think that they should just go for it, really.
I have to say, there are times that Dolores and I walk down the street and we are thinking, these folks here, the people who get up to give us a seat in the bus, have no idea what hot numbers we are in bed.
For probably the first time in my life, I'm willing to talk about our sex life.
We need to respect the sexual right of all persons in order to promote sexual health. Everyone should be able to have a healthy, satisfying sexual life if they so choose and their health allows it.
I think that sex is as important as you make it with anything else in your life. Again, it's going to wax and wane throughout your relationship. Not every week is going to be a honeymoon type week. But I think barring any type of medical issues that would prevent you from being able to have sex, that in general, I think it is an important part of the relationship. Just because it is such a special bond that you only have between you and your partner. You should only have between you and your partner. But yeah, I think that it reminds you how important that other person is in your life and keeps them first in your life. And then if you keep that important and in the front as much as possible, everything else in the relationship will follow suit. So
it's an extremely important and fundamental part of a relationship. I think we're talking about a marriage relationship here. And it probably is the thing, particularly in the case of men, that kind of gets them over the hump. Obviously, there are plenty of relationships where a couple meet, maybe in college, they go together and they get married, and it's kind of forever after. Even then, I think it's an important element. In the case of my wife, I must admit I'm old-fashioned. We waited until we were married. It probably seems humorous now, but I think we both felt, and even I felt, that it was really important. You waited.
What we think sex is about in America is a joke. It's a joke. There are all kinds of sexual things going on.
You have this bloom of passion that you had. And it's a quieter relationship. It's more, there's a lot of touching. You'll pat somebody or you'll touch their face, or you usually make it a point to at least kiss them goodbye if you're leaving, or you expect them to. More hugging, that sort of thing. You fall asleep more quickly.
You know, all day long, sexual things happen between us. It doesn't always have to happen in bed. You know, there's fondling and hugging all day, and there's looking at each other across the room. There's so much more to sex than just having intercourse. That's why it's still very wonderful for us.
Yeah, communication of feelings are not only verbal, but a hug, a wink, a comment that's playful. There are many ways in which our differences, because I think we are attracted because we are different people.
Hugging's so important. We have so many friends here at the Meadows that say the same thing about hugs and cuddling. Not enough people realize how important that is as you age.
I say people ought to learn to go to sleep cuddling. I have the impression that most young people growing up sleep alone and have the impression that any physical contact at bedtime might keep them awake. But early on, when we were first married, we were in a small apartment. There was a single bed. And we found out very quickly that was all the bed we ever needed, because we always cuddled to sleep. And you know, when a child is upset, the quickest way to get a child from being upset is to cuddle the child. And I don't think we ever lose that feeling or the pleasure that comes with it. So in that sense, early on, we always cuddled to sleep. You won't go to sleep unless you stop talking and there's no physical activity. Now, I miss Sally. Sally's been dead a year. And I miss Sally in many ways for all of our life. For 65 years of married life, we had some physical contact every night. And it was very satisfying. And there's something about learning to go to sleep cuddling that I keep telling people. Keep that in mind and learn how to do it if you don't already know.
Communication is the key component in any sexual relationship, no matter the age, making it more comfortable and satisfying for both partners.
I think it has a very prominent place to play in early marriage, and it's important to have communication and an understanding of expectations. I think sex can also be a stress reliever in relationships, and I think it can bring humor into a relationship as well.
If you're lucky and if you work at it, it becomes much more balanced. You get better. And as you get older, I mean, obviously intensity diminishes. So it becomes more of a comfortable, warm thing. So it has been in my life. I think that I can't speak from authority, but I think that the importance of sexuality for women is is understated, suppressed. I think with both sides we have strong feelings that demand gratification. And if you don't have that gratification, I think you feel life is sold you short a little bit.
Some myths about sexuality in older adults include they are not interested in sex, they do not have sex, they are not able to have sex, they do not need sex education, and that they should be avoiding sex because it can be dangerous.
My husband was 11 years older than I, and he developed physical challenges with kidney issues and high blood pressure. So his ability to perform sexually was compromised at a fairly early age, probably in his early 60s, I would say. But my concern was to make him comfortable, because men don't adjust as easily as women do. They're much more likely, in my opinion, much more likely to feel inadequate and not understand that the breadth and depth of the relationship is much deeper and broader than having sex.
My operations and all, it didn't stop us from wanting to be in bed.
Physical limitations we've had are due to the fact that my wife has had Parkinson's for 15 years, and it has definitely impacted that aspect of our relationship. That side of our life together is somewhat in the sunset.
So when someone becomes ill and you no longer have the same kind of relationship that you'd had, many things happen. Sometimes you go to bed at different times. What actually we did was to have separate bedrooms, because our sleep patterns were so different that if we didn't, neither one of us would ever sleep. The other one would always be keeping the other one awake. So, yeah, it isn't that you care less, you care in a different sort of way.
People are still having sex, and not many physicians are talking about it. If healthcare professionals can ask about bowel movements and urinary habits, they can ask about sex. It's also their job to provide sex education to prevent STDs, no matter how old the population is.
Say quickly with respect to your question about my doctor ever talking to me about my sexual activity. It's never happened. And interestingly, the urologist that I see passes out a questionnaire in which he asks many of these questions that you would expect, but I don't know whether he even sees it or whether he's just doing a research study, because it's not, I cannot remember having a discussion with any doctor about our sexual activity.
If you've known them for a very long time and they see the aging changes in you, I could see where this would be a subject that came up. And so I think just looking at you, you're going to decide that, or the physician is going to decide that this is not something that you're going to want to talk about, because it could be hurtful to either one of you.
Society promotes the importance of health and well-being in our aging population. Healthy eating, staying physically active, having social relationships, being active members in the community, but sex is never mentioned. Why not? Notice anything surprising? As shown in this chart, their enjoyment and their level of sexual arousal are extremely similar. As educators, healthcare professionals, researchers, and members of this society, we need to push against this bias and promote sexual health and sexual education in all ages. Because reality is, we're all still doing it.